comments as if we don't already know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure John Williams is raring to go with his comments.
Yeah, locked and loaded for sure.
Cool seeing you all lit up in the morning. Normally you got that black darkness behind you.
Right. People are gonna be like, look how white she really is.
Tracy Bogert, Steve Duraco, welcome.
It was all a lie.
Shannon is in the new studio. If it looks different to you, that's what's going on. Here we go. Do a little Friday radio show. 4 people in here. Welcome in. As we kick it off or tip it off. That's football. We're kicking it off. We're not tipping off. With all due respect to basketball. Louisa, welcome in. After doing Spurs React with us last night. Tracy, you're a big Shohei Ohtani dude. Barney Segura, welcome in.
Now, Chris Duel.
Oh, glory, glory, hallelujah. Praise be to the football gods on high, led by one Thomas Wade Landry. Praise Tom Landry and all the football gods who are showering football blessings upon us all weekend long. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. And to pull back the curtains, it's kind of a maiden voyage as Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. If you are on the live video feed right now, you see different lighting, a different background, a different studio, a different angle. Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, for the first time ever, coming to us from the sparkling new palatial high-tech iHeartRadio Austin studios. Shannon, I can feel the greatness and the glory all the way down here in San Antonio.
Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. We did it
for a second. Yes,
we did it. That the main thing has been solved for today. I started my day, Chris, got here a little early. I was excited, a little nervous, a little stressed. It's been quite a hectic week getting ready for the move. First one here, pull up. I'm in the first parking spot. I apologize to whoever worked in this building before and thinks that that's their spot. No, it's mine now because I'm the first one here and I will continue to be the first one here. And key card doesn't let me in the main building. So luckily,
locked out.
One of our engineers who came to meet me early, he was like, pro tip, the back door is not locked. So went on an excursion, got in, which is great because it's a very cold morning. I was like, I don't want to. I have all my gear, my backpack, everything. I don't want to have to take it off, put it back in the car and do that whole thing. So I muscled through, went through the back door and here we are. Slowly but surely we'll have all of the pieces put together in the way we want them to be. But for now we're on air and that I think is what the bosses want most of all.
So as a radio person who spent the last several years in the previous building, what is it like now being in the brand new sparkling radio building?
You know, when you're a kid and you go to certain stores with your parents and they're like, don't touch anything. I have that. No one's told me not to touch anything. In fact, they tell me to touch stuff. And I'm like, are you sure? So we'll get there. It's very exciting. It's very pretty. We have a little party today. Everyone's who hasn't gotten their key cards yet are coming by. And I hear there's champagne bottles to be popped. So I'm looking forward to that. And, you know, after seeing the San Antonio studios last Friday, a week from today, it's I feel like I've got my own little space now. It's awesome. And I am in the fishbowl, which I showed you, which means everyone who walks in the morning gets to, I'm their official greeter. We don't have a front desk situation. So I am now front desk lady.
Yeah, and for people, we have a fishbowl at the San Antonio iHeart radio studios as well. And what that is to further explain it for people who can't visualize it. When you walk into the building, it's like the main hub radio studio. So, and there's this piece of glass there. So it's like you're a fish in a fishbowl. So everybody walking into the building, including, when things are normal, listeners coming in to get their prizes or anybody doing business in the building, they walk in and they see somebody in a studio talking in a microphone on the air. So this morning, that would be Shannon Salty Sweeney in Austin.
Yeah, we are a fully functional and operational iHeartRadio station.
Woo. And this is already, we were bouncing off the walls this morning trying to connect you and Jeremy and San Antonio and Austin. The boss man, Brian Gann, was working on it as well. And, one of the things we were worried, are we going to hear you at all? Am I going to be, hello, Shannon, hello, or there's something called a mix minus issue where there could be just a feedback loop. People have probably heard, or even on television seen that with reporters before, where there's like a loop and echo and it's just absolute hell. None of that. We're we're relatively smooth here to kick things off.
The biggest box that need to be checked, I think we've got it.
Woo!
I think it should be smooth sailing from here.
Which is beautiful because there's so much to talk about on this Football Friday. So many big football games all weekend long. Great guests this morning, as we always do on a Friday. We love talking football with Coach A, Paul Alexander. He is kind of our football guru, our football perfect master, our football Buddha. We climb the mountain and we kneel at his feet and we talk football with Paul Alexander. It's great fun, and of course, talking football with Marc Vandermeer as well. Paul going to join us just after 7:00. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, who is just a spectacular talent, and he'll talk Texans, he'll talk NFL with us. Houston Texans in Tennessee to take on the Titans this weekend. A little bit later in the show as well, we will do our weekend football picks. Shannon and I will pick 3 college games and 3 NFL games against the spread, because anybody can just pick some straight up games. We're not going to do that. We like to embarrass ourselves publicly, humiliate ourselves with our picks. So we'll be doing that. And a lot of people already joining us on the live video feed. If you're new to the show, live video feed, a lot of ways you can access the live video feed. You can go to Facebook. We're streaming live video where AM 1300 The Zone and Ticket 760's Facebook pages, you can get it there. Those stations' Twitter pages. Ticket 760 has a YouTube page. So lots of ways you can do that. And what's cool about it, if you're new to it, you're not only interacting with us in real time, but you are interacting with other listeners / viewers from not only across Texas, but often around the world as well. Jason Paniagua jumping in here right now with a buenos dias, amigos. Buenos dias, Jason, and everybody else. Let's check in. Let's see if Jeremy has pulled his hair out yet. If he does, he'll start looking like me. You don't want to do that. Jeremy, how was your morning trying to put out all these engineering fires?
It wasn't bad. Once Shannon was able to hear me, then everything was good. I just wanted to be heard this morning. That was our main hurdle. Other than that, everything was fine. I'm glad to be back on with y'all this morning. I'm glad that so far my fingers are permanently crossed, but I'm glad that so far we haven't had any hiccups, it seems like.
He seems so laid back, Shannon. It's like
when along your journey did they tell you this was going to happen? They've taught you everything, and then they're like, forget that.
Well, last night I got a text from Sam at like 7:30 p.m. that the things were going to be switched up a little bit, and that he was trying to figure things out. And I trust in him, so
trust in Sam. Amen. See, Jeremy, you're so laid back, which I love it. I'm bouncing off the walls. Oh my God, are we going to get Shannon? Are we going to? And Jeremy and Brian Gann just putting out fires and connecting wires. I can't wait, Jeremy, until we see you totally. Do you ever freak out? Do you ever just totally freak out and go crazy and melt down?
I don't know. I try to. People always tell me I'm a pretty chill person, but I feel like I feel like I, get anxious about stuff as much as the next guy. So maybe I just hide it well. Maybe I'm just, calm, cool, and collected on the outside.
You are, man.
It's a great quality for radio specifically.
Yeah.
So you're doing great.
Yeah. So great work as always, Jeremy. We do appreciate it. In a moment, we'll do this in about a minute. You're the first of the day. We give away $1,000 every single hour, 20 minutes after the hour. We'll do that. And Shannon, I could use some money or just something to make me feel better. Spurs not only lose to Minnesota last night, a 5-9 team, Minnesota coming in to the Spurs 4-10, but they lose big, 115-90. We were talking about this yesterday, Shannon. It was a game I thought the Spurs coulda, shoulda won. Instead, they lose. They've lost 4 in a row now. They are now 4-11 on the season. If it was appropriate for me to be drinking in the morning, I would be drinking right now. I'm just saying.
And you attribute this loss to what immediately comes to your mind?
The balls weren't falling. And they fell early on. It was a huge. Minnesota jumped out to a 13-0 lead, which was in a few minutes a 22-3 lead midway through so Minnesota just came out and punched them in the mouth early. So the Spurs were on their heels and just never could recover. They cut it to single digits a few times, but just not. They were jacking up threes, just not hitting threes last night. Tell you what, though, right now it is 6:20. We do this every weekday on the 20s from 6:20 until 9:20 at night, and somebody does win $1,000 every hour. So it's not like you're competing for one winner at the end of the day or so. No, somebody's winning $1,000 right now, and it's a normal person like you or me, and it's not like me or Shannon or Jeremy because we can't play because we work for the radio station. But you can win the $1,000. It's the Grand in Your Hand cash contest. Here it is. It goes like this.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword BAG to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's BAG to 200-200.
BAG is the keyword. Best of luck. And again, we'll do that at 7:20 and at 8:20 and all day long into the night, wherever you're listening to these fabulous radio stations. Shannon, on the live video feed, and I had heard this yesterday as well, Tracy Bogert is writing, Detroit Tigers manager A.J. Hinch was seen in Houston yesterday having lunch with one Carlos Correa. And most people will recognize the name A.J. Hinch because he was the longtime Houston Astros manager who is now the manager of the Detroit Tigers after he was blown out after the cheating scandal. So he has a long-term relationship with Carlos Correa. And Detroit, as you know, Shannon, is one of the rumored top possible destinations for Carlos Correa. So, what do you make of this? Do you go, oh my God, that's it, we're screwed, Correa's definitely leaving the Astros, or do you see it as, hey, Correa's going to do his due diligence and he's going to talk to people who want to throw millions of dollars at him?
I definitely lean towards the second one because, and also like they are good friends, as you mentioned, and I wouldn't be surprised if AJ maybe even still has a residence in Houston, given that, he did win a championship. He's probably got sentimental ties to that city and always will. And, again, he's got to do his due diligence, especially when he does, turn down that first Astros offer and probably hopes that maybe they'll come back with something a little bit more enticing. But I also wouldn't be surprised if AJ Hinch is really working him, given that they have those ties. And there was a rumor going around before Justin Verlander re-signed with the Astros that maybe both of them would end up with the Detroit Tigers. And so now that Verlander has signed to stay with the Astros, I'm sure the Tigers are pursuing Correa that much more.
And you got to wonder if the Verlander signing, because of exactly what you said, and I'm sure Carlos Correa was well aware of that as well, that Verlander was considering the Detroit Tigers. And word was part of why Verlander stayed in Houston was how much he liked Jim Crane, the owner, and his loyalty to Jim Crane. And as an Astro, that's the place after all those years in Detroit that Justin Verlander won his first World Series championship in 2017. As much as A.J. Hinch may influence, given their relationship, Carlos Correa to go be a Detroit Tiger, I wonder if Justin Verlander, obviously a lot more money, world record money is probably going to be thrown at Carlos Correa. But I wonder if the fact that Justin surveyed the landscape and decided I'm staying in Houston, I wonder if that has even a subtle effect on the decision-making of Carlos Correa.
Yeah. I mean, it's, we're getting the gang back together. Why not take another shot at it? Look what we did this year. We get a guy like Verlander back. Why couldn't we make another run? Is it going to be worth whatever amount of money, that you'll probably never even spend in your lifetime, if you want to look at it that way, to go somewhere else that you don't know what situation you're getting yourself into, or to stick around where you do have a great shot to head back to the playoffs and potentially another World Series.
So much to talk about. I know that's baseball talk, but it's mainly a football Friday as God intended, because there's so much football. We got to talk about last night's Thursday night football. The New England Patriots put the beat down and the shutout on the Atlanta Falcons. Every Falcon quarterback throws an interception. Matty Ice throws a couple. We'll talk about that. What does that mean in the AFC? What does that mean to Shannon's second favorite team, the Buffalo Bills? We'll get into the Texas Longhorns at West Virginia. UTSA trying to go 11-0 in what Andy Everett calls the biggest game in program history. Tomorrow, 2:30 at the Alamo Dome against UAB. And, of course, marquee football game of the weekend for most of us, Dallas Cowboys at Arrowhead against the Kansas City Chiefs, 3:25 on Sunday. We're all over it. Our football picks, college and pro, in the 8 o'clock hour. Coach A, Paul Alexander at 7. Marc Vandermeer, voice of the Houston Texans, just after 8:30. And coming up, our high five play of the day. Jeremy Kolak making the show go and just staying cool, calm, and collected no matter what happens. Shannon Salty Sweeney from the fishbowl of the new, beautiful, sparkling, palatial iHeartRadio Austin studios. I'm Chris. Thanks for hanging out with us till 9 o'clock this morning on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! We're on the air. Let's see. Philip Ramos Longoria says lots of so-called experts have UAB winning over UTSA. What's your opinion? Well, UAB has dominated this series the last few years, but UTSA is at home. I think if this was at UAB, it would be more difficult for UTSA. I think you have to favor UTSA. UTSA is on a roll. I think you got to favor them, personally. Louisa says, will UTSA be on TV? That is a great question. Carl is saying ESPN Plus, Louisa, but I am also surprised, and maybe because they're on ESPN Plus, they can't do it, but I'm surprised that like My 35 or some local station doesn't put that on. But then again, if you do that, in the San Antonio area, that's the reason NFL teams have blackouts. You want people in the Alamo Dome. You want to get people into the facility. So let me see if my coffee is hot enough. There we go. Dave Emilio says, a shout out to the Brady Bulldogs. Good luck in tonight's playoff game. Very cool. I've been driving through Brady over the years. I used to go, my brother was stationed at Webb Air Force Base in Big Spring, Texas in the 70s. And we would drive from San Antonio up to Big Spring. And there was a route that would go through Brady, Texas. Carl Fisher says, just go to the game. Rock the dome. 16 of you in here this morning. Good morning, everybody. Carl Fisher, Beth Settle. Playoffs? Don't talk about Playoffs? Playoffs? I'm just hoping we can win a game. What's that? That may be the greatest sports quote / rant ever. Carl, we will not forget SAFC. In fact, to prove to you, I got it written down. It's on my piece of paper. SAFC Western Conference Final, Saturday, 9 o'clock at Orange County SC. So they're on my mind. I am not forgetting about them. Back in a sec. Talk amongst yourselves.
pushes us to the max. Work to the max. Family to the max. It can all mean pain to the max. So BC introduces new BC Max Strength. New BC Max relieves tough headaches and body pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. Pain to the max. New BC Max in a great tasting lemonade flavor.
So, you know what Mike said about getting LASIK at LASIK Plus? That it was the best decision he's ever made.
Oh, yeah.
And Tara, she said from the moment she arrived for her consultation, she got the red carpet treatment. And Kevin, he said that the ride home lesson.
Thank you, Mike Taylor.
And Kendra said, reading reviews online, LASIK Plus has thousands of 5-star reviews.
Thousands?
Okay, where was I? Oh, so Kendra.
LASIK Plus has received 4 5-star.
Carl Fisher is saying Section 109 if you want to get rowdy. Dave Emilio grew up in Brady, small town living, great times, very cool. Philip Ramos Longoria going to the game. Philip, I am out of town tomorrow. Tomorrow I am performing a wedding ceremony. I'm officiating a wedding ceremony in Dripping Springs, Texas. If I were in San Antonio, I would go. It's that big. So I will be listening on the iHeartRadio app to Ticket 760. The wedding is at 4. So game's at 2:30, and I got to be in place at 3 in Dripping Springs, and I got to go up there today. We do a rehearsal. So that's why I won't be there. John Williams is going to the Dallas Cowboys game on Thanksgiving. Carl Fisher says Section 109. See, Carl, if I was going, man, I would go hang out with you in Section 109. Look at this. Luisa Alanis saying Coach Traylor was passing out pie slices yesterday. Was it like pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving? Why pie? Yeah, Carl Fisher says I'll be there in spirit. Yeah, I will be listening, man. I will be locked in. Hopefully that game doesn't go into overtime because actually, so 2:30 start. I will miss a little. I'll have to go do the ceremony, and then can we wrap this thing up so I can get back to the UTSA game? Pie was on Wednesday, says Carl. Jason says, I'm going to the Bernie Greyhound playoff football game at Alamo Stadium. UTSA football is at the Alamo Dome tomorrow. Oh, you're going to both? Going to be a good football weekend. Now, I believe Paul Alexander did last week's Bernie playoff game on radio. I don't know if he's we'll talk to him here at the top. So not only do I have coffee in the studio this morning because I need it. There's my coffee. So I got coffee, check. Iced tea, hot and cold. Iced tea, check. And as always, you just don't want to do a radio show at 6:34 in the morning without an ice cold beer, the clean, crisp taste of Budweiser. So I actually, as many of you may know, Jason says he did the Bernie Champion game. All right, thank you. I do videos on the weekend, just saying hello and highlighting some of the football games and sporting events of the weekend. And I tend to lift a Bud Light in your honor. This Bud's for you. So currently, the beer is unopened. Currently. However, the weekend has begun, so anything's possible. Yeah, the boss man, Brian Gann, walked in here earlier, and I got a little beer sitting here on the countertop. I'm sure he thinks I'm normal in that regard. John, somebody ought to do a UTSA React game. I know Andy Everett does an extensive post-game show, which is great. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of a UTSA React show.
Another one.
DJ Khaled sampling Layla from Eric Clapton. I heard a little bit of Layla in the background of that. Welcome in on a football Friday. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney, who is coming at us this morning for the first time ever from the sparkling new high-tech whiz-bang, water your eyes, nothing better studios of the future at iHeartRadio Austin in the Fishbowl. People what's cool about the Fishbowl, Shannon, you could even theoretically have a studio audience. It could be like the Today Show, how all those people hang out and they have their signs. We could start doing that in Austin. Austinites could just, hang out on the other side of the glass, watch you. They could hold up signs. You could aim your camera for the live video feed, just like the Today Show. That could be a new big thing at iHeart Austin. Now in San Antonio, yes, I do. It was very funny so that I can have my fan watch. In San Antonio at the Fishbowl, I do notice the security guard who is near the Fishbowl usually has the radio on. And it's like, especially when we're doing Spurs games, I'll step out for a moment and I'll hear Bill Schoening. So even though there might not be a speaker, we could still easily just stick some boom boxes out there, just blast Yeah, so, but yeah, they got to work on a speaker though if we're gonna pull this plan off and get you your very own studio audience. See, that's the weirdest thing. Yeah, that's it. I have had the same dilemma. Yeah, and again, for people who may not be able to visualize, Shannon is now in a studio that has a huge glass window. So she's in a fishbowl, and people walking into the building see her. And I'm the same way, Shannon. My natural reflex is when I see somebody, A, make eye contact, B, wave at them, say good morning, and I will be on the radio and yeah, and people are and so it's like, so then I have to, like, if I'm doing radio, I have to say don't look, because if I look and don't wave, they think maybe I'm just being a jerk, and I don't want to be a jerk or even create the perception of being a jerk. So it's like, okay, don't look, just do your little radio show and don't make eye contact. Otherwise, they're going to think you're a jerk, or you're going to have to stop the radio show and wave and say good morning to people. Ooh. Ooh. There you go. There you go. All right, Louisa's saying you need to turn your microphone on for a StreamYard. All right, we'll do that, Louisa. Thank you very much. Wah, wah. Okay, it is time once again for the high five play of the day. We do it at this time every morning. It's a beautiful thing because we like handing out high fives. It's the right thing to do. We affirm, we celebrate people who are doing wonderful things, and the high five play of the day is appropriately brought to you by High Five. 2 locations in the Austin area with all kinds of just great fun for you. Big screen TVs everywhere. All the great football games this weekend. You can watch them there. What else do they got? Oh, great food, great drinks, food specials, drink specials, games you can play from bowling to laser tag, axe throwing, you name it, they've got it. Shannon, who is deserving of a high five this morning?
Well, another piece of high five that we love is they are an official pub club of Austin FC. And although Austin FC's season has come to an end, they are continuing to do work in the neighborhood in the Austin community with their nonprofit arm, the 4ATX Foundation, along with their team partner of Boingo Wireless. They have begun the installation process of putting in another mini pitch. This one's going in East Austin. It's their third since 2019. Their goals with these pitches are to provide local families and residents with free and a safe place to gather, play, and stay active and healthy. Chris, we love doing local stories. I love that Austin FC, still so new in the community, is continuing to make an impact. They didn't just put out one in 2019, which was when the first one was made in November. So just 2 years ago, and say, all right, we did it. Look at us. We're great. They've continued with this project. And so that East Austin community in Civitan Park, going to get a pretty awesome mini pitch. I don't know if you've ever seen a mini pitch, Chris.
I have not seen a mini pitch.
They're like life-size foosball tables. So they're miniature scale soccer. They're kind of walled in, and then they have little goals. But you get in there and you run around, you play, you kick the ball as hard as you can, because with those walls, the ball's not going to go flying anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think I would have loved. I mean, I played soccer growing up. I would have loved to have one of these in the neighborhood or just even in my backyard to kick the ball around some more. So high five to Austin FC, the nonprofit arm for ATX Foundation, and Boingo Wireless.
Big high five, Boingo Wireless, Austin FC. And you think about it, Shannon, with like the mini pitches being created in the Austin area and Austin FC, coming online. This was their first year, becoming so popular. You got to believe a lot of kids from all parts of Austin and around Austin will start playing soccer. So the more you give all kids an opportunity to play the game, that's just cool. So absolutely high five to them. And as you mentioned, Austin FC, Shannon, I do want to mention, I know it's a big deal around San Antonio FC in their league. They are in their Western Conference final against Orange County SC. I think this is the deepest San Antonio FC has gone. So that'll be Saturday night. It's a road match. It's at Orange County SC in Southern California. So I know there's some watch parties around San Antonio. People are going to be watching that on television. So we love Austin FC and we love San Antonio FC. So go San Antonio FC as well. Woo!
It's soccer is truly an amazing sport. I don't know that it always gets as much love and respect as it deserves, but I think with the World Cup coming up this summer, it'll bring a bigger light onto stateside soccer. And I do have some World Cup news for you coming in the shakedown today. Just a little teaser there.
Beautiful. All right, we now have to decide, Shannon, who's a worse human being, Aaron Rodgers or Antonio Brown. And I'm suddenly this whole COVID thing, and here I was down on Cole Beasley and Kirk Cousins for their stand on refusing to get vaccinated, and especially Cole Beasley putting out ridiculous misinformation and fake non-science for his reasoning. But then when Aaron Rodgers kind of tried to fool us and fake us out with, I'm immunized. Then I realized, well, at least Cole Beasley's being real and saying, hey, I'm not doing it, and here's why, even though his why was kind of scientifically flawed. But now, as we learned yesterday, Shannon, Antonio Brown, who throughout his career has a history of just doing stupid things off the field. He's a tremendous wide receiver on the field, but just a nutcase off the field. We find out yesterday he is now accused of obtaining a fake COVID-19 vaccination card and then just kind of lollygagging around the Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice facility and lollygagging around life as if he's vaccinated, purporting to other human beings who could get infected by him, and by the way, who could die, that, I'm vaccinated, I'm Antonio Brown. Yeah, see my card? Shannon, I didn't think anybody would be worse than Aaron Rodgers on this issue, but I think we've found somebody.
Yeah, Antonio Brown, they saw this Aaron Rodgers story, and he said, hold my beer. First of all, how dare you? How dare you subject your teammates and your fans and everyone you interact with because of what you do, which is a lot of people than I think most people in a typical 9 to 5 would come across, and to subject them to possible exposure because you're pretending that you are vaccinated. And is he stupid?
Stupid or criminal?
It's illegal to do that. I didn't. Did he and his girlfriend think he's never gotten away with really anything as far as when he's been in trouble before. So I don't know why this would somehow in his mind say, you know what, this is the time. And then to make it even crazier, this story came out because his former chef said he owes him $10,000. Which is something I think we've heard before from people who've worked with Antonio Brown, that
yes,
he never paid up.
Yes.
And so here it is, the guy who he originally went to say, I'll give you $500 if you can get me a vaccination card. That fell through. Antonio Brown ended up getting one, as well as through his girlfriend and through other means. And now this guy is throwing this out there to aid in him receiving the $10,000 he is owed, and in the process may have officially ruined Antonio Brown's career. I feel like we've been through the up and downs now so much that how many more times are we going to give this guy chances?
And now the NFL that really only just slapped Aaron Rodgers on the wrist with like a $14,000 fine for going to a Halloween party amid everything Aaron Rodgers did to kind of fake that he was immunized against COVID. Therefore, we would have thought vaccinated, and they fined the Packers $300,000. To me, while this is worse, if the NFL cracks down on Antonio Brown now and suspends him for 3 games or the rest of the season or a game or whatever, or fines him a ton of money or fines the Tampa Bay Buccaneers more than $300,000, then you're saying, favoritism? How come you're going this far with Antonio Brown and you didn't go that far with Aaron Rodgers? So because of their inaction and their wrist slapping for Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, in a weird way now, Shannon, the NFL is almost boxed in to do something similar, therefore almost nothing to Antonio Brown and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I mean, they can maybe play the reasoning of, this isn't the first time he's acted up. But then I also asked the question of, it was the Packers who received that $300,000 fine. Is Tampa Bay going to be responsible? Because they said they cleared all the backs cards, right? They had that information, and for whatever reason, the one they had on Antonio Brown did not raise any red flags. I mean, I blame both parties here clearly, and then to just make it even weirder, because I guess Antonio Brown's side is denying this. He says that he's willing to get the booster shot on live TV. First of all, that doesn't prove anything. You can put whatever you want in a needle and
True.
Water. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
True.
But also, no one wants to see that. No one feels that deeply about it, other than you just making mistake after mistake, and this one just seems huge. And again, coming off the Aaron Rodgers thing, it's like, really, dude, really?
Well, and my biggest thing here, not only is this wrong, and but it can kill somebody. One of his teammates or anybody he encountered, and he purported to be vaccinated. You are much more highly likely to acquire and pass on the virus if you're not vaccinated. So one of his players, one of his teammates could get it, go home, give it to one of his kids or his wife, or what if one of the grandparents comes over? I mean, this ultimately can be deadly and kill people. And to me, that's why I just find it the height of arrogance. And you just said something else about Antonio Brown, and you may be right, because we've seen Antonio Brown busted doing horrible things, including, accusations of very, very bad behavior with women. There's been some accusations of either sexual harassment or worse, outright sexual assault allegations. But, when somebody gets caught, we don't know that this might be who Antonio Brown is. While he might have been caught and busted for 7 things we know about, how do we know that he hasn't done 21 things that he got away with? That this is who he is. This is how he operates in the world. He thinks he can lie, cheat, steal, get away with things. Maybe he's done a lot of despicable things that we don't even know about.
Yeah, you say it quite a bit, where there's smoke, there's fire. There is a lot of smoke, and it's consistent. I don't think I can remember a year since he's been on the cover of Madden, especially, that we haven't had some drama with this guy. And it's not like a little drama here and there. It is one thing. I've burned my feet. I want this helmet. I'm out of the Raiders. I don't want to be with Pittsburgh. I'm going to work on becoming a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And then he wins a Super Bowl, and you think, I don't know if he now thinks he's, he can't be touched because of that. And so he's going to continue his ways. And he, look how he behaved before. He's only been rewarded. He keeps getting jobs. He keeps getting paid millions of dollars. And now he's got a Super Bowl by playing with Tom Brady. Why not keep going with the way I've been living my life thus far? I haven't really received any punishment worth it to say, all right, maybe I should sit down and change things. And if this isn't it, I don't know.
On our live video feed, Shannon, Jason Paniagua with a very interesting comment. He writes this, and he's watching on YouTube this morning, which is one of the platforms where you can participate in the live video feed. Jason writes, Aaron Rodgers did not commit a federal crime. Antonio Brown forged a government document. Antonio Brown wasting his opportunity again. I didn't think about that, Shannon. That COVID vaccine card is, by definition, it's a federal document. So, yeah, I mean, if you really want to push this to the letter of the law, he did forge a government document. That is something to think about.
Yeah, and for that, punishment will be greater than what the NFL might do to him, right? I mean, they may say you're going to be done because the government's going to have their way with you. You're no longer our problem. All
right, we got a lot more coming your way this morning. Paul Alexander, Coach A, going to talk football with us. Well, I'm sure we'll probably bring up Antonio Brown with him. I still want to bring up, and Paul, a longtime broadcaster, my mind is still blown by those Texas Tech broadcasters slamming the officials, saying the officials are in the tank for Iowa State, calling out Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner of the Big 12, and then reading off the names of all the officials. I got to get Paul Alexander's reaction to that. We will talk with him about the Longhorns, about the UTSA Roadrunners, and, of course, the Dallas Cowboys at the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead, 3:25 on Sunday. Don't forget, coming up, Shannon's Salty Shakedown in the 7 o'clock hour, along with sports history and sports birthdays. Your chance to win $1,000 coming up at 7:20 and at 8:20, and just after 8:30. Our good buddy, and he's just such a great football mind, Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, going to join us just after 8:30. Jeremy makes the show go. We are with you till 9 o'clock this morning. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. Absolutely. Let me get my stuff out of your way.
It took 30 seconds. No, I don't see it available on here. There we go. Okay, that's weird. Hey, sorry to bother you. Hey, I'm in D. I was just looking to make sure I wrote things down right for the source and destination for like we just did in H. And is it because I don't have anything available other than sports delay? Is it because I have KVET net locked in the destination? I didn't know if that. Yeah, I didn't know if that was. I would mess anything up. Oh, I got you. Okay, gotcha. And for that station, it was D Remo 1. So, yeah, okay. Well, I'll go. Yeah, you can do whatever you need to do there. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to mess something up if I even moved it, even though I wouldn't have hit take. I just didn't want to mess something up. All right, man. Thank you. It does. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think, like I said, it's now it's not that big a deal, but down the road, I can see how somebody when something happens. Oh, no, why is that? You know how it is. So, all right, man. Thank you. Okay.
So we're good? Okay.
Now, 10%. There was one change that they needed to make to him talk back.
Okay.
I did talk to him about we're going to try to get her talk back ability to you so she could talk directly to you.
Oh, okay. That'd be great. Okay. Super. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay. Pedro says, my question is, why aren't more people questioning this quote unquote vaccine more vehemently? This magical vaccine is going into your body forever. Pedro, because people believe the vast majority of highly educated, highly trained scientists and epidemiologists and doctors who have worked on this vaccine. And Pedro, if you knew more about it, this actual vaccine has been in the works for 20 years against a corona type virus. It was fast tracked when COVID-19 happened. Pedro is also saying, if people are going to stand up and fight against something, my goodness, getting injected with a faux vaccine, which is just a money grab for big pharma, would be the thing to stand up and fight against. Pedro, over 700,000 Americans dead from the coronavirus. I pray you don't get it, and I pray someone you love or know doesn't get it, because most of us, myself included, know people who have died from the coronavirus. So sorry you don't believe in this case in medicine or science. I will tell you, the earth is round, and we did go to the moon in 1969 as well. You may not believe those things, because I know there are trends out there on the internet. Coach A, Paul Alexander, going to join us. See if I got my Paul Alexander photo. I think I do. There he is, already smiling. Let me see if Paul, look at his John Williams. What did you send to me? Sharon Osbourne posting that Mick Rock has died. Very sad. He's been around quite a bit. That was a great rock and roll name, huh? Mick Rock.
So, you know what Mike said about getting LASIK at LASIK Plus? That it was the best decision he's ever made.
Oh, yeah.
And Tara, she said from the moment she arrived for her consultation, she got the red carpet treatment. And Kevin, he said that the ride home lasted longer than the actual procedure. And Kendra said,
Oh, we don't know any Kendras.
I'm reading reviews online. LASIK Plus has thousands of 5-star reviews.
Thousands?
Uh-huh. Okay, where was I? Oh, so Kendra said,
LASIK Plus has received more 5-star reviews online nationally than anyone else. So, if you're ready for a life of new vision, schedule today. Right now at LASIK Plus, we're offering 20% off LASIK with our latest wavelight laser when treated in November. Visit mylasicoffer.com. LASIK Plus, the patient's choice for LASIK. Must mention this promotion and be treated in November of 2021 to qualify. 20% off standard price of wavelight procedure cannot be combined with any other offers. Go to mylasicoffer.com for details.
Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address on this day. Is that right? That's what Apollo 12 landed on the moon on this day. You got Paul? Is that Paul? Cool, man. Thanks. Oh, I know what I was going to check.
Save up to $500 when you get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin. Plus, get flexible dates with qualifying Sealy purchase up to a $499 value. Or shop Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America, and save up to $500 on adjustable mattress sets. Unjunk your sleep. Only at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. See details at mattressfirm.com.
Okay, so there's that. Paul Alexander, moments away from joining us. John, it's a good idea. We're relatively new to this platform, but we will ask him. One of the reasons is if you do it on your phone, you would need a phone for your call, and you would need another platform like a laptop for Facebook Live, and sometimes there's an echo issue. So that could have, we will explore that with certain people, and Paul would be a great candidate for that. We just haven't implemented it yet, but it's not, when you're on the radio with us, it's not as easy as it looks if you were going to do that, because most people would use their phone for StreamYard or Facebook Live, and the platform is StreamYard. And so if he didn't use his phone, but he used a laptop, there's also a possibility of an echo issue. So not impossible. It's very doable, but it's just an extra hoop we would have to ask him to jump into if he was going to do that. And now we've lost Shannon on the live stream. Can you check? Anyone to check if Shannon's there? We lost her on StreamYard. I'm assuming she's on the radio. All right. Okay, well, I'll go to Paul and I'll take a shot at Shannon, and if she's not there, here we go. Oh, glory, glory, hallelujah, and welcome into another glorious football weekend on every level. High school playoffs, college football heating up with just big college football matchups and big college football implications that affect the college football playoff and potential bowl games. And then it all culminates 3:25 Sunday afternoon, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri, what could be a Super Bowl preview. And if I would have said that to you before this season began, you would have laughed at me, at least with regard to the Dallas Cowboys. But Cowboys Chiefs on Sunday. So let's talk a little football right now with our football guru. We love talking football with this man. He has done it all in broadcasting, reporter, anchor, sports, news, entertainment, executive, you name it, he's done it. The one and only Coach A, Paul Alexander. How are you this morning?
Chris, good morning. Always look forward to this.
So much to talk about, Paul, and for us to just do this in the time you're here, there's so many things I want to get to. A story I got to get your thoughts on, because not only do you love football, but you are a broadcaster and have often been a football play-by-play broadcaster. Texas Tech last week against Iowa State, their play-by-play host Brian Jensen and the analyst John Harris unhappy with the officiating. They say a number of things on air, including the Big 12 wants Iowa State to win this game. The Big 12 does not want Texas Tech to win this game. Bob Bowlesby, you're going to have to speak about this. You should be ashamed of yourself. And then they go on to read the names of every official on the field. As we know, this week, Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby issues a sanction against Texas Tech, perhaps darn near unprecedented, suspending those broadcasters for one game. Paul, as a broadcaster yourself, your thoughts on this situation?
Yeah, Chris, I'm really having an 11th commandment. That is, thou shalt not dog other play-by-play dudes and dudettes. But this was wrong, so I'm just going to go Led Zeppelin on them. They need cooling, and baby, I'm not fooling.
Well, and we talked to Bill Schoening about this yesterday, and Bill, personally knows these guys, Brian Jensen and John Harris, and I'm Jeremy, I'm getting Shannon there on air as well. We'll go to Shannon here in a moment. But Paul, what about Bob Bowlesby? Was he right to do what he did with them?
He was absolutely right. And see, look, here's the thing. Whether you're a broadcaster for a team.
Is she ready to go?
For a team.
Okay.
Obviously, you support that program. I mean, they're your employer, they're your partner, etc. But while you're not necessarily neutral, you should be objective. You have to be objective. And of course, there are network announcers that aren't affiliated with either team, so that's a different dynamic. So it's okay to say, I disagree with that call. It's okay to say, here's why I disagree. It's okay to say, in my opinion, they got it wrong. But when you cross over and start speaking to intent and motive and conspiracy, not only was that unwarranted, it's just completely unacceptable. There's no defending that. And I know that there is a dynamic there where the more you get revved up, the more you get revved up. But when you start reading off the names of officials and this environment today, I mean, that absolutely could be dangerous. They were wrong at every level. I think Bowlesby took a measured response, asking those guys to go fishing this weekend and come back to their job next weekend. I think it's fine. I don't think anybody should get fired here. I don't want to contribute to this so-called cancel culture thing, but there's just no defending that. It was reckless. It was inaccurate. It was unprofessional. And so here's what I'd like to see happen. Both those guys make the proper public apology, make the proper private apologies to the people they need to apologize to, and then let's get on.
I love it, Paul. And not a notes app apology either, like people do these days to post to their social medias. A real thoughtful apology. Coach, want to switch to the NFL. Last night, we got the Patriots taking on the Falcons. The Patriots end up shutting out the Falcons 25-0. We obviously saw the Cowboys demolish the Falcons just last weekend. Given where the Patriots are now, 7-4, how do you view this team and Mac Jones? People are starting to say that they're legit. They could be Super Bowl contenders. Do you see them even winning the AFC East at this point, or do you think there might be still some doubt given rookie status of Mr. Jones?
Well, I think there's some indigestion in the city of Buffalo today. I don't think the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, but I am, more than impressed with what they've done. I mean, that defense is playing really, really well, obviously. Mac Jones is the goods, and they play such complementary and situational football. They're a delight to watch. They're light years ahead of where I thought they would be at this time this year. But they're a playoff contender, but I don't see them winning the AFC.
And since we're talking NFL right now, Paul, as we talk with Coach A, Paul Alexander of RadicallyRational.com, I asked Shannon the question earlier this morning, Paul, who is a worse human being. Is it Aaron Rodgers or is it Antonio Brown? Revelations overnight. Antonio Brown is now accused of obtaining a fake COVID-19 vaccination card. Paul, we've seen Antonio Brown do bizarre things and behave badly at Pittsburgh, at the time Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe they were Las Vegas moving at that time. Briefly with New England. Now he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. My problem with this, Paul, when you fake your COVID-19 vaccination card and portray yourself as a vaccinated human being, you are potentially putting other people's lives at risk. You know, we just talked about the sanctions against the Texas Tech broadcasters. If this is found out to be true about Antonio Brown, Paul, what do you think the NFL should do about this?
Well, here's what I think. Excuse me. Here's what I think they should do. I think they should suspend him and fine him. What I know, Aaron Rodgers could have been suspended and could have been into the Stone Age. He gets a $14,000 fine. Now, compare that to what went on with things like Deflategate. Compare that with the fact that CeeDee Lamb has been fined $50,000 for uniform violations. I don't get this. I mean, this speaks to the core of the NFL's COVID protocols. It's absolutely outrageous. As you said, it endangers people's health. It endangers people's lives. It damages the business of the National Football League. So, I mean, I think you ought to absolutely throw the book at him. I don't think the NFL will necessarily, because if they do that, now you start comparing that to the Aaron Rodgers situation, and you've got a whole different can of worms there. But I just don't see how they can tolerate this. I guess I will say this for AB. Sound like you got a pretty good price. I mean, he drove a hard bargain. I mean, he got that for $500.
Yeah, I think kids in college get fake IDs for more than that. I feel like the price on those has jumped. Why not a vaccine card these days? Coach, given the past of Antonio Brown and all of the things that have portrayed him in a not so great spotlight throughout his time in the NFL, and even that time when he was just searching for a team, it feels like he keeps getting rewarded for these bad behaviors. And I know you say you hope the NFL throws the book at him, but they probably won't. If you're that commissioner, I mean, where's the line at this point to finally say, Antonio Brown, you're done?
Well, apparently we haven't found it yet, because like you say, I mean, he keeps pushing the envelope. Now, the one thing I will say, he's messing with the wrong coach. Okay, he's got the wrong head coach to be messing with. Now, apparently he does have a pretty important and influential ally in Tom Brady. But yeah, I mean, when it gets to the point where you can just anticipate that there's going to be a lot of chaos and a lot of non-football and a lot of drama, etc., and that is the case with him. And plus, I do think that his physical skills have declined to a degree where you really have to ask yourself the question: is it worth it?
Paul Alexander talking football with us, Paul. And I know we were on the NFL here. I see Sunday's Cowboys-Chiefs game as our main course, our main entree. So I'm going to save our entree for the last thing Shannon and I talk with you about. We're going through the appetizers now, and eventually they're going to bring the entree out, and then we're just going to feast on some Cowboys-Chiefs talk with you. But now I'm going to dive back into college football. We'll go UTSA, then we'll go Texas Longhorns. The man who has broadcast every UTSA football game, Andy Everett, calls tomorrow's game at the Alamo Dome the most important, biggest game in UTSA football history. They take on, as you well know, UAB at the Alamo Dome at 2:30. Jeff Traylor, the head coach, this entire program. Every week that they win, they get more and more national recognition, national accolades, television, radio programs, interviewing them, talking about them. How much pressure do you think Jeff Traylor and this UTSA football team is under, trying to keep a good thing going, trying to get to 11-0 tomorrow against UAB, knowing that if they lose, they're not even probably going to the Conference USA championship game. UAB would jump into that position and have a head-to-head win.
They're under enormous pressure. But this is what I love about that program, and I love about Coach Traylor. they're just going to embrace it. And like I said, yeah, we're under a lot of pressure. Obviously, we can count. Let's go. And I love what Coach Traylor said early in the week. He was asking questions, kind of what's the key to the game? What are you going to emphasize? And he's so wonderful because he doesn't resort to coach speak like, we got to stop them on first down. He sailed right over that and went straight to our culture has to prevail. That's why he's Jeff Traylor. That's why that program is what it is. He gets that. There is a UTSA football culture, and that is what has carried them through. And that's why even on some Saturdays where they didn't necessarily have their fastball, they still found a way to win. And there are only 3 teams in the FBS that don't have a loss. And I think Cincinnati may get beat tomorrow. They're just so well focused. They play so hard. They have good players. But beyond that, there is this mutual accountability. And it's based on this bond to each other. And if you love football, that really is the core of the sport. And it's a delight to watch them play. This is going to be a very tough challenge. UAB has owned Conference USA for some time. I will guarantee you they're not intimidated. They're not scared. They fully expect to win. And, yeah, there's ginormous pressure because, as you indicated, you lose that game. Both teams still have a fairly difficult game next week. But if UTSA loses tomorrow, probably, not only are they not undefeated anymore, but probably they're not going to the CUSA championship game. I think they'll just embrace it. I think they'll go after it. And one of the things I wrote in my blog this morning, I'm fascinated to find out what their game plan is going to be.
Talking football with Coach A. Paul Alexander. We will jump back in with him on Texas football. But right now it's time for your 7 o'clock hour keyword, your shot at $1,000. Listen for the text to win.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword WORK to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's WORK to 200-200.
Text WORK to 200-200 for your shot at $1,000. Coach A, from Coach Jeff Traylor, who has that pressure on him to remain undefeated, to remain at the top, to remain what everybody has kind of put him up to be thus far this season, to the Texas football program that is facing a different kind of pressure, particularly Steve Sarkisian, as it is his first year as the head coach of that program. They're looking at 4-6. They head to West Virginia to take on the Mountaineers this weekend. West Virginia, that line has gone up once again. It is now West Virginia favored by 3. This week we get a word from Chris Del Conte that he's got plenty of confidence in Coach Sark that he's going to turn this thing around. We hear Sark talk about his coaching crew and how these are the right guys to mold and build future NFL stars. What are your thoughts on this Texas football program and specifically Sark and how things have gone and how you think the season may finish out with 2 games left here?
Well, first of all, there's only one thing we know about this game tomorrow, and that is that West Virginia is going to want to play. That West Virginia is just going to go hydrophobic, and they're going to want to play. And that's going to make it very difficult for Texas. We talk about Sarkisian, first year. More than likely he survives this because he did inherit this. And this culture has been, there's that word again, culture has been deteriorating for a long time. But I'll tell you somebody who better watch his backside. The CDC. Now, I'm not talking about the Centers for Disease Control. I'm talking about Chris Del Conte. That was your hire, buddy. And the one thing that an athletic director at a program like Texas better do, you better get the right head coach. You better be real careful that he don't get some on him.
Coach A. Paul Alexander talking football with us, and I notice on the live video feed right now saying hello to Coach A. Paul Alexander, another icon, Louise Locker, who has been known for decades as Elf Louise in San Antonio, doing so many wonderful things for people who can use the help for kids at Christmas. So a shout out to Elf Louise, talking football with Coach A. Paul Alexander. All right, Paul, let's just dive into the entree right now. My goodness, as exciting as opening night was, that matchup at Tampa Bay, Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it lived up to the hype. I am getting as geeked up for Cowboys and Kansas City Chiefs, 325 Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday. Both teams exploded last week. As you know, Cowboys went off on the Atlanta Falcons offensively and defensively, but we saw the Kansas City Chiefs explode certainly offensively against the Las Vegas Raiders. Both of these teams coming into this game feeling very, very good about themselves. What would a win at Arrowhead Stadium against this Chiefs team that's gone to the last couple of Super Bowls, what would this mean for the Dallas Cowboys if they can get this win on Sunday?
It would be a statement win, to put it mildly, and it would really give you momentum into what's left of the back half of the schedule. And now you really start thinking about getting that top seed in the NFC. And as for the game itself, if this had been played 3 weeks ago and you'd asked me, I would have said that Dallas will win and win handily. I'm still picking the Cowboys for a variety of reasons that we can get into, but Kansas City has really gotten well offensively over the last 2 weeks, and I think we can all agree that it'd be a really good job for the Cowboys defensively. Somebody needs to kind of keep an eye on number 87, you know?
Oh, that little man named Travis Kelce? Is that who you're referring to there, Coach A?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he loves that painted area there on the field for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you mentioned the Cowboys defense. If this was last year and the Cowboys were taking on the Chiefs, I don't even know if I'd turn on the game. I mean, close that show. We don't even need to show up for that one. Cowboys would no chance they would win that one. But given where they are this year, the number of takeaways, just how much they've grown, and kind of, I know Kansas City's looking a lot better now offensively, but they have struggled during some games this season. Do you think ultimately, if the Cowboys win this game, it'll be because of that defensive play?
A couple of things there. Kansas City still has terrible problems in their offensive line. You know, they had that meltdown at the end of last year where they had the injured players. You had 2 tackles playing in the Super Bowl who, I mean, God love them. I'm not dogging these guys personally, but they just weren't Super Bowl level tackles. And we saw what happened to them in the Super Bowl. And they really haven't fixed that problem. The Chiefs defense has played a little bit better of late. I mean, they tried to blitz Jordan Love back into the Stone Age a couple of weeks ago, but that defense is not very good. So I'm sure one of the things the Cowboys are going to want to do is try to dominate time of possession. I mean, look for Zeke and Tony to go crazy. Dak's got to hit his shots downfield when they're there. He absolutely does. So I think there's going to be a certain amount of pressure on the Cowboy offense to continue to score. But the best thing they can do is defensively control the line of scrimmage, get some pressure on Mahomes. You know, we've seen this year, he's had to run for his life. And I think a lot of his early problems were that his protection was so bad and that defense was so bad that he was having to take even more chances. And you know, and his circus throws were getting crazier and crazier. And as a result, his mechanics completely melted down. And for the first time, he became wildly inaccurate. He's straightening that out right now. But the thing is, you really got to get that pressure up the middle on Mahomes. And I feel fairly confident that Dallas will do just that. But that's such an amazing atmosphere in Kansas City. I mean, that's like a college crowd. And Chris, like you, I'm so fired up about this game. I can't wait.
Yeah, 3:20. You know, I'm counting down the hours. 3:25 Sunday on Fox. Can't wait for that. Coach A. Paul Alexander, you referenced your sports blog a few minutes ago. People who may be new to where they can find more of you. It is at radicallyrational.com, and not just sports. You talk about life and culture and all kinds of things, and tremendous video podcast conversations for people who may be new to it. Tell us what we're going to find at radicallyrational.com.
Well, thank you for asking. And you can go there now. The sports blog is up. We'll have some news information and videos later. So it's just an information and entertainment multi-platform thing. And we try to take subjects seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And we hope it entertains you. If it isn't entertaining you, then I'm not doing my job, that's for sure. But you'll see blogs, you'll see guest columns, including a great one by Chris Duel. We have daily videos, we do podcasts. The one that's in the lead position right now is an astounding conversation that we had with a guy that a lot of you know, and that is Anthony Pittman, who worked in San Antonio media for a long time. Pitt's been through some stuff. And his perspective on this is one of the most enlightening and inspiring and thought-provoking conversations I've ever had. Starting on Monday, we've got a new podcast that's hitting, and that's with one of the rising great documentary filmmakers in America, Peter Pardini. That's coming up. And Chris, thank you for helping me do a little business here, because Elf Louise, hey Louise Locker, we got to get you on the podcast. Let's talk today, okay?
You sitting down with Louise Locker talking life would be spectacular. You got to make that one happen. And I said it last week, your conversation with Anthony Pittman right now in the lead position on the video podcast, that is a riveting hour. And again, this is a man who's kind of been to hell and back, but he is back. And there are life lessons for all of us there. Highly recommend radicallyrational.com. Coach A, Paul Alexander, always spectacular. You, sir, are radio gold. Have yourself a great football weekend. We'll talk again next week.
Chris, Shannon, thank you so much as always. And like you said, if you find yourself going through hell, keep going.
Keep on going. You can get through it. There is a way out. All right. Coming up, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. Always spectacular. Always thought-provoking and enlightening. This day in sports history, sports birthdays, and more. Just after 8 o'clock, we'll make our 3 college football picks each and 3 NFL picks. And coming up after 8:30, the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. Lots coming at you. We're with you till 9. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Foamfoot 420, a.k.a. Amber, is back. Welcome back, Amber. Let me take Paul down there. But, yeah, Louise, if you are still on with us, Louise Locker, Paul has an amazing website called radicallyrational.com. And, I have been on his blog, and I've been on his podcast, which is great. Anthony Pittman, as he mentions. But, yeah, the two of you sitting down would be spectacular as well. Foamfoot 420 with a prediction. Outstanding. Jason Paniagua, if you find yourself going through hell, keep going. There you go. Thank you, Anthony. I was two things. I was the first ever season ticket holder of the San Antonio Scorpions, hence the hat. And then I was the PA announcer for the Scorpions for quite some time. All right, I am going to tank up on coffee. We shall be back. Foamfoot 420, since you made that prediction, I'm going to put that up there so that you can speak it into existence. Mike Taylor going to sit in for me here for a moment. I feel the need for coffee. Thank you very much. I am off to heat the coffee. I'll be right back.
velvety paper feel, exquisite colors, the stunning scale of a massive storefront banner. At Staples, we sweat the details and quality of every print project. It's what we call our Print Big Promise. We're not only committed to getting your print job right, we're committed to treating your small business like a big deal, to bringing your ideas to life and giving you guidance from start to finish. Stop by Staples today and try our Print Big Promise. You'll be glad you did. Staples, where small business prints big.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life. I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub. It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, greatest invention ever." Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning. BC Powder knows life pushes us to the max, work to the max, family to the max. It can all mean pain to the max. So BC introduces new BC Max Strength. New BC Max relieves tough headaches and body pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. Pain to the max? New BC Max. In a great tasting lemonade flavor.
Thanks, man. Woo! 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 Thank you, Mike Taylor. Okay, I need that. Yeah, Anthony, if you haven't seen it yet, Anthony Del Toro writing about Anthony Pittman there. If you haven't seen it yet, go to radicallyrational.com, click on podcasts. It should be the first one there. It's a really, on social media, so many people on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, showing photos of how beautiful their life is. Here's my meal. Here's my vacation. When Paul sits down with Anthony Pittman, I mean, and you know him, Anthony, he's a guy who's been through a lot and is, and has learned a lot and is a very thoughtful and I would say humble man. So, I think we learn more from conversations like that. Louise Locker and I have talked. We're going to do some, just kind of sit downs on a platform like this and talk about big ideas as well. So I think those are valuable. So, okay, let me see. Coming up now in a few minutes, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. See, we've got some predictions from Wes Perkins. Okay, and Shannon, we'll see if there's echo. There was last time. If there is, we'll work through it. Hopefully not. Here we come.
Join in by dialing 1-800-707-9760.
Welcome back. My goodness gracious, so much football ground to cover. It is a football Friday on the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty Sweeney, and we are moments away from Shannon's Salty Shakedown, which is coming at you. Lots coming at you between now and 9 o'clock. Just after 8 o'clock, we will dive into our weekend football picks. Shannon and I will each pick 3 college football games against the spread and 3 NFL games against the spread. I always pick the Longhorns game. I always pick the UTSA game, and I always pick the Dallas Cowboys game. But I don't always pick those 3 teams, which I want to win, but sometimes the spread just forces me in the other direction. It happened last week when I saw the 31-point spread that Texas was supposed to beat Kansas by. I picked Kansas and got the 31 points. And I thought, Longhorns will win by 20, 21. I got the pick right, but the game didn't go the way I wanted it to. So that's coming. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, going to join us just after 8:30 to talk Texans and NFL. Houston Texans will be in Tennessee this weekend, taking on a very good red-hot Tennessee Titans team that just keeps on keeping on without Derrick Henry. So we'll get into that. But let's get this party started. Let's make our way to Shannon's Salty Shakedown first with sports birthdays and this day in sports history. 1978, on this day, November 19th, it was the Miracle at the Meadowlands. Philadelphia Eagles defensive back Herman Edwards returns a fumble for a touchdown with 31 seconds left to give the Philadelphia Eagles a 1917 win over the New York Giants. This was before victory formation existed. This is why you now have victory formation. Joe Pisarcik trying to run out the clock because the Giants were going to win, handing the ball off to Larry Zonka. He fumbles, and Herman Edwards picks it up, goes in for the touchdown, and Eagles win instead of the Giants. Because of that play on this day in 1978, we now have the victory formation. You take a knee and run that clock out instead of hand the ball off, which was done forever in football. This day in 1979, the Houston Astros sign Nolan Ryan. They signed Nolan Ryan to a 4-year, $4.5 million contract. That was a record contract at that time. Finally, on this day in 2018, the LA Rams beat the Kansas City Chiefs 54-51 at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. It was the 3rd highest scoring game in NFL history and the first time 2 teams scored 50 points plus in a game. Mahomes had 6 touchdown passes for Kansas City. It was the most in Monday Night Football history. That's your sports history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1921, Roy Campanella, Baseball Hall of Fame catcher, National League MVP in 1951, 53, and 55 with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Roy Campanella was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Born on this day in 1938, television mogul and owner of the Atlanta Braves and winner of the America's Cup, Ted Turner. Born on this day in 1938 in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was married to Jane Fonda for a while. I find that impressive. Born on this day in 1949, NFL wide receiver, now sportscaster, Ahmad Rashad, and buddy of Michael Jordan. Ahmad Rashad was born by the name of Bobby Moore in Portland, Oregon on this day in 1949. And finally, born on this day in 1958, American sports writer and sports analyst Michael Wilbon, born in 1958 in Chicago, Illinois. Those are your sports birthdays. That's your sports history. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, here it is, your Friday weekend Salty Shakedown.
Yes, the Friday edition. It's finally here. It's been quite the week getting into the new studio. So here we go, the first official Salty Shakedown, new studio style. Chris, we gave our high five play of the day to Austin FC. Soccer, a growing sport over here stateside. I think what helps it grow every 4 years, even more so stateside, is the World Cup, because there's nothing that brings Americans together quite like seeing men and women in uniform playing for their team in their respective sports. And it's almost hard to believe. We had the Olympics in February, and then after that, we've got the World Cup in Qatar. It's going to be nonstop. Usually the summers are pretty dry, but this year we will have stuff to look forward to, including that World Cup. And I found this interesting, Chris, because this World Cup, it's kind of like the Olympics, right? Where they have to put everyone who comes to visit. And a lot of times with the Olympics, we get the Olympic villages, we get all of these stadiums. And then 10 years later, you get the photos of the overgrown and the run down and no longer serviced, no longer taken care of. So Qatar is doing it differently. They're going to try and do some makeshift moves so they don't end up with all of these buildings that just expire after the fact. Right now, that country only has 30,000 hotel rooms. They're expecting over 1 million visitors to come
Whoa.
to town for the 28-day event. So they're using the help of a French company who's actually going to help provide some staff that'll assist with rooms and apartments and villas, kind of like an Airbnb situation that'll be throughout the country. They like I said, they don't want to build hotels. Okay, well that's still not enough even when you throw in those villas and apartments. So what they're also doing is they're bringing in 2 large cruise ships that will total an extra 4,000 rooms. And on those cruise ships, not only you're not going to go anywhere, but you will have access to pools and adult beverages, which in Qatar they're a little more strict over there in their beverages. They do say, for those who may be planning to attend the World Cup, that they do expect beer and wine sales to be available, and trust that their law is there that you can't be drunk in public. You can't do it. It's against the law. So they're really hoping and believing that people will behave themselves and respect the country, but they're really trying to avoid with these cruise ships using the terms booze cruise or the party boats. But nonetheless, that would be an option too. And if none of these seem to serve you and you do think you're heading over there, they are working on creating luxury tents in a campsite that people could rent as well. Chris, given the options, you could stay at a classic hotel, already there, probably going to be there for years to come. Maybe find yourself in an Airbnb type situation. A cruise ship, not sure. I mean, do you have to do like the 3 to 7 nights, or can you go for 2 nights, or do you have to do the typical cruise stay? Or I don't know. I hate camping, but you may be into the camping, especially if it seems this luxury. I don't know if it's going to be more glamping style. What say you?
Well, you bring up luxury tents, and I think of the Fire Festival that what said they were going to have luxury accommodations, right, including luxury tents. Not exactly crazy, but you meant, Qatar is an Islamic country, and you're so right. People normally, you go to a Super Bowl, a World Series, NBA Finals, World Cup, you expect, obviously, if you're an adult from a Western country, to enjoy beer and wine and enjoy yourself. And you're right. That's a no-no in most of Qatar. So it's going to be interesting to see the clash of cultures. But I do like the cruise ship idea. If I were going, I'd take a shot at the cruise ship.
Yeah, that's not bad. And lots of other activities to spend. But my only thing would be, what if I enjoy it so much and I don't want to deal with the crowds at a game? Maybe I end up staying on that cruise ship. I don't know. Maybe they should offer like to sail on a cruise ship from another country and then stay on I don't know. They can go a lot of ways, but I love that they are thinking outside the box and getting accommodations ready for that event. Chris, we have some baby news.
Baby news
in Texas for a guy that we all know and love. One Mr. Jordan Spieth announced yesterday on his Instagram that he and wife Annie have welcomed their first child, son, Sammy Spieth, born 11/14. The picture on Spieth's Instagram is so cute. It's just Spieth's hand and this little baby hand holding his finger. It's very adorable. Annie also posted a picture of the baby and their family dog. They kept it pretty quiet, this pregnancy. It wasn't really known until she was following him around the Champions Tour. And, she was clearly pregnant at the time. And they waited for the reveal of the gender until the baby was born. So that baby now a total of 5 days old. Jordan Spieth's he's been up and then he was down for a while, and he's kind of come back. He's won a few tournaments here and there. Do you think maybe this might be the good luck charm that gets him to that next level, because he's got something more to play for now.
Well, and you and I have not had kids, Shannon.
Nope.
So, but I hear from those friends of mine who have them, when you have a child, it changes you. So the question is, how is this going to change Jordan Spieth? Is this going to take him to another level as a golfer, or is it going to be, even if you got all the money like Jordan Spieth does, it totally changes your world when you bring a child into your world. So might that change his routines and affect him? He's Jordan Spieth, though. He's a great golfer. I'm going to say this is good luck for him. He's going to play better. He's going to want to impress the new young child.
Oh yeah, and he's got all the endorsements, AT&T. He does the don't text and drive. He's got the watches. He's everywhere. Under Armour, of course. I'm ready for some baby supplies. Brought to you by Jordan Spieth, endorsed by brand new dad Jordan Spieth. Congrats to the Spieth family on your little bundle of Sammy Spieth joy. Finally, Chris, we're gonna go to the entertainment world. I know we discussed Tiger King 2, which came out earlier this week. I haven't heard any news about it, so I guess people aren't really into it as much as the first one. But another Netflix show to maybe get on your calendar, dropping December 10th, which is a Friday.
Woo.
And also, that's kind of the tail end of the college football season. So your Saturday not going to be as packed as it is earlier in the fall. This show was announced during the pandemic, so it's a little surprising that they've already recorded it and they're ready to release it. It's called The Roaring Twenties, and sir, it is a real-world style show, 8 strangers living in a home, but it takes place in Austin, Texas. Those 8 strangers looking for love and success. They filmed this in the fall of 2021. As I said, it drops December 10th. I never heard any rumblings of. I knew the show was going to happen. I didn't realize they already filmed it. I never heard any rumblings of camera crews in certain areas or any goings on, but the trailer has dropped for those interested in checking it out. It's just a 60-second teaser trailer. But Chris, I don't know if you ever watched The Real World. I caught very few seasons and episodes within those seasons. And there was a season in Austin, so I don't know what it's going to say about the city, but I hope it's portrayed well in this documentary maybe style, since it's Netflix. Yeah. Of a reality show, because I think this is the first that they've really done like this.
It's going to be fun just seeing, the characters, the reality show characters doing what they do around Austin and seeing sites and, landmarks and places that you've been and you go to. So I'm definitely going to put that on the list. That sounds like a lot of fun. I can't imagine they'd portray Austin negatively. I mean, it might be weird to keep Austin weird, but it should be fun. And it will be interesting to see how Austin is portrayed by filmmakers. Yeah. I'm guessing they came from Southern California.
Yeah, I think some of the episodes I saw of The Real World Austin, it was mostly like 6th Street. That's all they did, 6th Street. And I was like, there's so much more. So considering they filmed in the fall, and since we are a sports talk show, I mean, we've got Texas football, we had Austin FC, we had CODA, then we had all of the music going on, right? So I hope that stuff gets some light shown onto it during that show. Again, that's called The Roaring Twenties, available on Netflix beginning December 10th. There it is, today's Salty Shakedown.
Outstanding Salty Shakedown. Congratulations to new daddy Jordan Spieth. The Roaring Twenties in Austin, coming to Netflix in your home. And of course, Qatar. And congratulations for pronouncing Qatar, which is so weird because it sure looks like Qatar to me.
Yeah,
and for years and years, people said Qatar, and now it's Qatar. I don't know how you get Qatar out of Qatar.
That makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah, that is it. You're a
I'm proud of me.
Broadcaster. To be a professional broadcaster, I think that's on the final exam. You've got to pronounce Qatar as Qatar, even though you don't want to, even though you go, wait a minute, it's Qatar. So that's going to be just so weird. And okay, a million people, Shannon. So inevitably, somebody's going to behave badly, right? It's inevitable. Everybody coming to a Super Bowl, everybody coming to South by Southwest. Somebody's going to get drunk so you're in Qatar. It is Islamic law. They don't screw around. Somebody coming from, New Orleans or something to go see the World Cup who drinks a little too much, and some people handle their liquor differently and maybe get into a little bit of trouble. I mean, you could be thrown in prison for a long, long time. That's one of the things that would scare me, Shannon, about just even, whether I'm going to drink or not at the World Cup. You go into an Islamic country. What if you're falsely accused of something? I mean, I've heard some horror stories as well. And not to mention the fact, if you're a woman going to the World Cup, as we know, women are treated not exactly as equals in hardcore Islamic countries. So even that's a little frightening to me as well.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, 1 million people, there's bound to be at least one bad egg, if not multiple. You know, they're going to be doing beer and wine. Who's that? I don't know how they would sneak it into the country. I don't know where they'd be getting it from, but you got to figure someone will try to sneak some hard liquor in there. They have too much. No international incidences, please, especially just given the event alone. The U.S. men's national team, years past, not great. Even when they did make the tournament, they're expected to play pretty well this go round. And I don't want this. I would love the focus to be on that team and whatever success they have in that tournament than some person who does as you say and you know, just kind of ruins it for everybody and potentially it puts themselves in a very dangerous situation.
Got a couple of comments on the live video feed. Jason Paniagua joining us on YouTube says, tell those Germans not to drink beer at a soccer game? Question mark. Because that's a huge point. Whether you're German or not, Shannon, these soccer supporters, fans of support, beer is like a sacrament to a lot of these soccer fans. How are you going to, your team is in the World Cup and you're not able to just get blank-faced watching your team? That's going to be a little weird.
Yeah. If you are a part of the operations of Qatar, do you feel like they're allowing the beer and wine sales because they want to keep people happy? Or do you think it's because they realize just how much money you can bring in when you do sell that stuff?
Totally agree with you. It's money. It's all about the money. And you know what? And that's why probably a lot of the Islamic hardcore laws, maybe they're going to say, all right, we'll lighten up for these Westerners so we can take all of their money. Pedro says when he was deployed in Iraq, he went to Qatar, beautiful beaches in Qatar. Pedro, thank you for your service. Firsthand account of Qatar. That's pretty cool. Coming up, our weekend football picks, college and pro. Marc Vandermeer, voice of the Houston Texans, and a whole lot more. Till 9, it's the Chris Duel Show. Little Rolling Stones on the way out. Woo! All right, I have to finalize my football picks. It's like doing my homework right before class starts. Cowboys Chiefs, let me pick that game.
We have to wait for the lines to be official.
True. I'm going off of ESPN. Let me see. Packers Vikings, Giants Bucks on Monday night. Sunday night is Steelers Chargers. It's another good game. Nothing else is really. Oh, that's a fun one. The Cam Newton game.
Starts on hard surfaces.
Carolina by 3.5.
Dust starts to move, compromising the quality of your air. You and your family breathe. So what do I do? Get Swiffer Heavy Duty Dusting. Swiffer Heavy Duty Dusting is the fast and easy way to track and lock dust before it gets into you. Exactly. So you can just Swiffer Heavy Duty Dusting. Proud partner.
One more. What do I want?
Knows life pushes us to the max. Work to the max. Family to the max. It can all mean pain to the max. So BC introduces new BC Max Strength. New BC Max relieves tough headaches and body pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. Pain to the max. New BC Max in a great tasting lemonade flavor.
All right, I got my picks. Dean says Tennessee Oilers versus the Houston Texans. Yeah, and it drives me a little crazy, Dean. Occasionally, the Titans will wear their throwbacks and wear the Oilers oil derrick helmet. I don't like that. Yeah, John, that's an ugly story, man. But it's sports, and we appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Ex-NFL player Zach Stacy, who I don't remember the name, arrested in Florida for brutally beating his ex-girlfriend and their young baby. My God. Let me go take a look. I know you sent that to me. There it is. I don't remember Zach Stacy's name. Apparently there's graphic video. We don't want to see that. He was a 5th round draft pick out of Vanderbilt. Doesn't say who he played for. That's why we have Google. Do you understand how this works with the music on these picks? So there's a college bed for the college picks, and there's a NFL Films bed for NFL. Okay. Yeah, the bed underneath us for the picks. So it'll be quite obvious when we begin the college picks, and then we'll transition to NFL. So NFL Films music for NFL picks. Cool, man. See, Zach Stacy. He's 30 years old. Played for the Jets. Played for the Rams, the Jets, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the Memphis Express of either XFL or whatever league they were in. Went to Vanderbilt from Centerville, Alabama. I don't know the answer to that question. Dean asks, what are the Spurs building by La Cantera? I don't know. It's a good question. Maybe somebody here knows. Anthony Huerta, ESPN called Lonnie Walker Larry Walker the fourth instead of Lonnie. We need to start winning. 4-game losing streak will make people forget our names. Go Spurs, go. Good point, Anthony. That was a tough loss last night. Maybe the toughest of the season, because that was a game going in. Minnesota's 5-9. Spurs are 4-10. Minnesota was on a back-to-back. They'd played the night before. I just really felt, the Spurs have been in so many games against very good teams, and, they just came out flat last night. Thank you, Axel. I did not see that Washington Post article yet. However, I do recall, I had heard last week earlier this week, a Washington Post reporter was out at practice and interviewing UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor. John Williams says the Spurs are building a training center by La Cantera. That would make sense. I mean, their practice facility is very state of the art. I guess they're upgrading. Dean saying Sean Elliott and David Robinson were on hand breaking ground. That's cool. Oh, it's been a long week. Spurs game last night, so I'm a little extra tired. And the Spurs game Tuesday night was a West Coast game I'm still recovering from a late night sleep deprivation perspective. Let me pull up the college football scoreboard. Tracy Bogert had sent me a message. Today is National Carbonated Beverage with Caffeine Day. It's National Play Monopoly Day. It is Substitute Educator Day. And it's the Friday before Thanksgiving, which means we're 6 days away from Beatles on the Disney Channel or on Disney Plus. Luisa Alanis saying The Rock at La Cantera is a $500 million, 45-acre human performance research center. Wow. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, Jason, I posted a clip on Facebook last night that I saw of Peter Jackson, the director, just talking about, this is footage nobody's seen in 50 years. And it was originally 16 millimeter film, but they processed it to where it's crisp. It looks like it was shot yesterday, yet, the Beatles are so young in this, and it's like you're in the studio with them as they're creating the Let It Be album. It's amazing. I can't wait. And it's 3 straight nights. So it's Thanksgiving night, 2 hours each, Friday night next week, and then Saturday night. Total of 6 hours, but they're releasing it one night at a time, which is kind of cool. It makes it even more of an event. I would have otherwise binge watched all 6 hours. Now it's now it's an event to look forward to each night during Thanksgiving weekend. Although there is a Spurs game Friday night, so I will be watching the Beatles late night on Friday night. Here we go. And that's Friday night next week. It's Thanksgiving week. Night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide. They go to.
Now, Chris Duel.
Our glorious football weekend is upon us, ushered in last night by the New England Patriots shutout beatdown of the Atlanta Falcons. Everybody gets to throw an interception for the Atlanta Falcons in the game last night. Big shutout win for the Patriots. Patriots keep on winning. Patriots shocking the world a little bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on them. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Shannon joining us from the brand new, sparkling, palatial iHeart Austin studios. We got a couple of issues throughout the day, but everything is up and running. Kind of first day, Shannon. Got a couple of glitches here and there, and our live people on the live feed just saw at the beginning. They're coming into this segment. You're going, I can't hear the sound.
Like the San Antonio studios, the idea is that you can go into any studio and.
Yeah. Exactly. It could have been somebody just trying to sabotage your picks, which would have been awful. I try not to. Yeah. Either A, you may not want to bet the house on certainly my picks, or B, you may want to just go the opposite of what I'm picking, to be honest. But we're doing the best we can. We are actually trying our best to actually use facts and logic in making these picks. And this is the week. I got a feeling this is the week that we nail some of these picks. We will start with college. Shannon and I will each pick 3 college football games against the spread, and then we will pick 3 NFL games against the spread. And as Jeremy hits some college football music that you are very, very familiar with, Shannon Salty Sweeney, you have the honors. Who are you going to pick first?
All right, let's go here first. I'm going to go with Notre Dame. They are playing Georgia Tech this weekend. They are favored by 17, and that seems maybe like a lot for a team that's 9-1 going against a 3-17. That maybe once they get ahead, they'd feel comfortable and not push for those extra points on the board. But Notre Dame currently on the outside looking in of the college football playoff. They're going to want to be as dominant as possible against their remaining opponents throughout the rest of the season. So I think they are really going to push for as large as a victory margin as they can in this game this weekend. So therefore, I'm going to take Notre Dame and those 17 points against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good pick, especially at Notre Dame. If that spread would have been at Georgia Tech, I might reconsider, but I am in accord with you on that pick. Ooh, the USC fight song in the background. Thank you. I should have picked USC, UCLA, but I'm not because this is a much bigger game. Number 7, Michigan State.
Jeremy, can you pause the music down a little bit?
Ohio State. And I got to go. Ohio State is a 19-point favorite. That is crazy. You're telling me I'm getting number 7, Michigan State, and 19 points, even though it's in the horseshoe at Ohio State? Give me Michigan State plus the 19 while we pod the music down for Shannon. Thank you very much.
That is super suspicious.
That's crazy. When I saw that spread, I'm like,
19.
Yeah, Vegas knows something.
What do they as like half the team not showing up, or
I don't
did
know.
they have a Texas flu-like situation from last week? That's quite crazy. But yeah, I like that pick for you, taking Michigan State in that one against Ohio State. Chris, my second pick also has college football playoff hopes and dreams lying on them. We talked to Coach A earlier in the show. He helped me to inspire this pick when he said Cincinnati, it could all come crashing down this week as they take on SMU. Cincinnati currently favored by 11. So I'm going to take SMU in the points at plus 11 with the hopes that maybe they're the ones to take Cincinnati out, just because I'd like UTSA to be the only undefeated team come the end of the season. But as we discussed earlier in the week, I think Cincinnati in their current situation, not being in a Power 5 conference, it would kind of hurt the rest of the schools that are looking to move up in those rankings because they are, deemed as their schedules aren't hard enough because they aren't in those conferences. So I could take it either way, but for my pick, I am going to take SMU plus 11.
A good pick. I can't root for SMU, obviously. My wife went to Cincinnati. She is a bear cat and was a bear kitten. Plus, Cincinnati last year, this happened to them. They went undefeated, didn't get into the college football playoff. I feel bad for them. So come on, Cincinnati. I don't root for you to be wrong on a pick, Shannon, but I'm rooting in that game for Cincinnati to win. Let's see, my second pick. I guess, let's see, I will wait. I'll do the UTSA pick last. Texas is at West Virginia, as you well know, Shannon, being a hardcore Longhorn alum. West Virginia is favored by 3. I keep picking Texas every week, Shannon. I keep, thank you, sir, may I have another whack? Thank you, sir, may I have another whack? I have to believe, Shannon, things were so ugly against Kansas. If Steve Sarkisian, and I know Bijan Robinson's out of this game, but if Steve Sarkisian and this Texas staff have any influence over these players in this locker room to stand up for themselves, make a statement on the road at West Virginia. Texas has to win its final games to become bowl eligible. I got to pick Texas, and I get 3 points to pick them because West Virginia is favored by 3. I think the Longhorns rise up and right this ship this week and win on the road at West Virginia. Give me the Longhorns.
I like it because I'd love my Horns to pull this out, as well as the last game of the season to become bowl eligible. It's hard, Chris, when they're facing West Virginia, a place that they have struggled in the past in their games that have come down to the wire. And given the way this team has played thus far, it's hard to believe. But I like the pick, sir. My final pick will keep us in the Big 12. I was shocked by this line. Baylor is playing Kansas State. Baylor, of course, having a pretty great season themselves. They just defeated previously top 10 ranked Oklahoma at home last weekend, and now they're the underdog against Kansas State at +1. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears to win it and get that margin of victory. I don't know your thoughts on that, but I was surprised. I don't see how Kansas State is maybe kind of like Michigan State, Ohio State. What does Vegas know? But I know that I believe in the Bears that they can get this win.
I think it's a great pick, and you're right. That is kind of an eye-opening, jaw-dropping line. Kansas State would be favored over Baylor, even though it is at Kansas State. It's disrespectful to Baylor, who is 8-2 and number 11 in the country. But obviously, and Vegas knows something. So it is amazing. You look at some of these lines before the games, and you scratch your head, and then the games play out, and you often have to tip your hat to Vegas. Good pick there. My final pick will be at the Alamo Dome. Big game. The eyes of San Antonio and maybe even Texas on this one, because UTSA is 10-0 and undefeated. Andy Everett, the voice of UTSA athletics, as we know, has called this the biggest game in UTSA program history. UTSA a 4.5-point favorite as they host UAB. UAB has had their number. UAB has been a force in Conference USA for years. I believe in Jeff Traylor. I believe in the triangle of toughness. I believe in the UTSA Roadrunners. Give me the Roadrunners to make history and keep on keeping on to 11-0. I will lay the 4.5 points. Give me UTSA to win by more than 4.5 on Saturday, tomorrow. There you have it.
All right. There it is. Chris got on college. You got this weekend Michigan State +19 versus Ohio State. Still can't believe that one. Texas +3 against West Virginia, and UTSA -4.5 versus UAB. I'm taking Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, at -17 versus Georgia Tech. SMU to pull the upset, +11 versus Cincinnati, and Baylor at +1 versus Kansas State. That wraps up our college picks for the week. Time for some NFL action.
Yes, and with NFL action comes NFL Films music. Some of the greatest music ever created on the face of this earth. Roll over, Beethoven. This is NFL Films music. Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, let's go pro. You do the honors first. Who you got in your first NFL game?
I've got a feeling you and I are both going to be picking this game, so no head-to-head here for us. But I'm going to go with my Cowboys +2.5 versus the Chiefs. I think they will get the win. I just don't respect the Kansas City Chiefs offense in the way I once did, especially considering how this Dallas Cowboys defense is currently playing. I'm taking my boys up in Kansas City this weekend.
Who would have thought you'd ever say I don't respect the Kansas City Chiefs offense like I once did? Wow. I will pick that game. I'm going to save it for last, though, because it's Cowboys. It's the entree, so I'm going to save it. So I will pick. This is an intriguing game. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Las Vegas Raiders. They're both 5-4. They both started the season very, very well, but have kind of floundered of late. I look at the disarray the Raiders are going through, even though this is a home game. And I think Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, a slightly better team. Plus, I factor in what the Raiders are going through. Raiders a 1-point favorite. So give me the 5-4 Bengals on the road. Wait. The Bengals are a 1-point favorite, but I believe in the Bengals. So Bengals -1. Let me get my point spread right. Bengals are -1, but I'm still picking them. I think they're going to win the game by a field goal or a touchdown. Give me the Bengals -1 at the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday, Shannon.
Do you think the Raiders, as good as they kind of started the season, or fallen off at this point, given everything that's going on?
I just think so. Yeah. Coach John Gruden, the fiasco, Henry Ruggs III. There's just so much going on. I just think it's hard for a football team to focus on what they need to do. And I think we saw that last week when the Chiefs annihilated the Raiders.
All right, my second pick for the NFL this weekend, going to the bottom of the pile here. The Dolphins will take on the Jets. The Jets working with new/old starting quarterback, one Joe Flacco. I just don't see him being the guy he once was for Baltimore. And I don't see him doing anything with this Jets team that they haven't already tried themselves. I don't see them winning this game, so I've got to take the favorites here, the Dolphins -3 against the Jets.
I think it's a good call. And Rex Ryan will be thrilled if the Jets lose. We know he's got that issue with the Jets coach, Robert Saleh. But yeah, there's not wise to bet on the Jets at this point. I think that's a good call. This is going to be a fun one. We've talked about this one this week. If I can see this one, I'd like to see it. The return of Cam Newton as a starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, all the more juicy because when the Washington football team comes to town Sunday at noon, their coach Ron Rivera, the former Panthers coach who gave up on Cam Newton, could have brought him to Washington but chose not to. I love it. I'm putting my money on Cam Newton to have a big day, Shannon. Carolina is a 3.5-point favorite. Washington is 3-6 and 1-3 on the road. Panthers are 5-5. Remember, they had that 3-0 start, though, so that's kind of misleading. They haven't played as well lately, although they did win last week. Panthers 2-3 at home, but it's a new day with Cam Newton. I think he energizes that entire football team. Even the defense, I think, gets jacked up just to have Cam Newton on that sideline and in that locker room. Give me the Carolina Panthers -3.5 against Washington on Sunday.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Washington, without one of their high picks, his name is escaping me right now, but on the defensive side, Mr. Chase Young.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
out with an injury.
So, you add that to Cam's ability to run the football. I think it'd be a great pick. And again, we always love to see games that improve the Cowboys' stance in their division. I think we'll still win it outright, but that's always makes me happy to see a division rival lose. All right, finally today, I think Kyler Murray is going to be back in action for the Cardinals. They are taking on the Seahawks. We saw what they did or really didn't do against the Packers with no points put on the board with Russell Wilson's return. So I'm going to take the Cardinals -2.5 in the Battle of the Short Kings, Kyler Murray versus Russell Wilson.
I like that. Battle of the Short Kings, and keep an eye on those Arizona Cardinals. Man, if the Cowboys win, we're setting up a showdown. Cardinals face the Cowboys down the line in the regular season. It could be a showdown for the best record in the NFL. Speaking of Cowboys, and by the way, if you're waiting for the cash giveaway, we're going to do that as soon as we finish our NFL picks. It's coming up in a moment, so we will get that to you. I know we typically go for 820 on that, but final pick, I said I'd pick the Cowboys game. Until they prove me wrong, Shannon, the Dallas Cowboys, and I know they laid an egg a couple of weeks ago when the Broncos beat them, but we're going to learn a lot about the Cowboys. Hostile environment, possible Super Bowl preview, the team that was the best team in the AFC each of the last 2 years, Patrick Mahomes, arguably the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Dak Prescott wanting to show that he's a pretty darn good quarterback himself. Cowboys are 2.5-point underdogs. So I get the Cowboys if I pick them +2.5. You and I both picked the Cowboys this week. Cowboys, do not let us down. Keep on keeping on. Let's forge a path to the best record in the NFC. Go Cowboys. Like you, I got the Cowboys beating the Chiefs 325 on Sunday.
All right, so to recap the NFL picks, both Chris and I taking the Cowboys at +2.5 versus the Chiefs. Chris also has the Bengals at -1 against the Raiders, the Panthers -3.5 versus Washington. I'm taking the Dolphins at -3 against the Jets, and the Cardinals at -2.5 against the Seahawks. Chris, you mentioned it. It's now time for it. It's the 8 o'clock hour cash giveaway. Listen now for the keyword.
Your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword deposit to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's deposit to 200-200.
Deposit the keyword. I don't know if I deposit the 1,000 if I want it. I do want to underscore this, Shannon, since we're talking NFL football, and coming up in just a few moments, Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans. Every quarterback last night for the Atlanta Falcons in the 25-0 beatdown. Patriots beat the Falcons 25-0 on Thursday Night Football. Everybody gets to throw an interception. Matt Ryan threw 2. Josh Rosen, the chosen Rosen, threw 1 late in the game. Felipe Franks then came in. He threw an interception. It's almost like Oprah. You get an interception, and you get an interception, and you get an interception. Yeah. My God, the Atlanta Falcons. I feel so bad for Matt Ryan because he and this team, Shannon, just a few years ago, they were up 28-3 on the New England Patriots, as we well know, in the Super Bowl. It was this same matchup. Had they done what 99% of all other teams when they're up by that many points do, win the game. Think about it. Matt Ryan probably is a shoo-in for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He has a Super Bowl. He's regarded differently. Dan Quinn. So maybe as a Cowboys fan, we're happy what happened. Dan Quinn probably is still the head coach of the Falcons. He's got a ring. He would have brought a Super Bowl championship to the Falcons. Brady and the Patriots would be just one less Super Bowl of luster on them. To see Matt Ryan just getting his butt kicked, getting sacked, getting hit last night after he threw. I feel bad for Matt Ryan, a guy who came so close to football immortality in the Super Bowl and now is playing on a really bad football team and now is clearly in the twilight of his career.
Yeah, it was a comical of errors. And I believe Josh Rosen's interception was a pick six.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. And I don't want to say it about Matty Ice. I want him to go out on his own terms, but they need a solid franchise quarterback for the future. And whether or not that comes in this draft, or even I've seen murmurs of, hey, they would be the target. If I'm Deshaun Watson, that's where I want to go. With a guy like Kyle Pitts to throw it to, who was really kind of the only active seemingly guy on that offense last night to have any sort of forward momentum. He still didn't do great for me in fantasy. I think it'd be a decent landing spot should Deshaun kind of be cleared of the situation that he's in. And then back to Josh Rosen. I mean, I think the way he came into the league, so confident, he gets traded away when Cliff Kingsbury comes to town. I think he still has the mindset that he should have been a higher pick and that he should be a starting quarterback. And when he went to Atlanta, he probably thought Matty Ice maybe on his way out, I will be the future. But then when you come in and do stuff like that, I don't think so.
No, yeah. Now that's what we remember him for. All right, coming up, speaking of NFL football, the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer, joins us next. Texans taking on a very good Tennessee Titans team that just keeps on winning, even though they did lose Derrick Henry for the season. We'll talk Texans, NFL, and more. Jeremy making the show go this morning. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. Thanks for hanging out with us till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Let me see if I've got. It was in that segment. Okay. All right. Let's see if I've got my Marc Vandermeer photo. I believe I do. There he is. Marc Vandermeer going to join us in just a few minutes. Did you find that music?
Yep, I got it just now.
Cool, man. Thank you so much. Back in a flash. I grabbed some ice for the end of the show. Thank you for sitting in, Mike Taylor.
So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life. I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub. It's like seriously magic, and his secret weapon to clean the kitchen, bathroom, doors, and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, greatest invention ever."
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of clean. BC Powder knows life pushes us to the max. Work to the max. Family to the max. It can all mean pain to the max. So BC introduces new BC Max Strength. New BC Max relieves tough headaches and body pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. Pain to the max. New BC Max. In a great tasting lemonade flavor.
Discounts are great on pizza, groceries, clothes. But when you see a discount on LASIK, you're skeptical. That's because we've been trained to think that anything that makes your life better has to be expensive. At the LASIK Vision Institute, it's just not true. We're able to provide amazing discounts and affordable financing on LASIK because LASIK is all we do. So don't be skeptical. Be excited about a life of new vision from the experts in LASIK. Right now, at the LASIK Vision Institute, we're offering $750 off our Wavelight laser if you're treated in November. That's $375 off per eye. Plus, take advantage of our guaranteed financing. Go to LASIK.com to see if LASIK.
Woo!
The LASIK Vision Institute. Amazing vision, amazing price. Let's finish this promotion. Be treated in November of 2021 to qualify.
Oh. Quick, Mark likes to be called right before the segment. So call him like, if we're going to be on at 35, call him at 34. If we're going to be on at 36, call him at. I meant to tell you that. I've never told you that. Yeah, I saw you going for the phone. That's why I jumped in. Yeah, the other Jeremy Fouts once called him like 6 minutes before this, and Mark wasn't happy. So. text him, let him know we're going to call him.
Are you working next week?
Monday through Wednesday. Yeah.
Don't forget the Thanksgiving pickup lines. Yeah, you look good.
Very funny. David Munoz said the Thanksgiving pickup line is, "Yam, you look good." Very nice. All right. High noon, Texans, Titans. Thank you, Jason. He's ready? Cool, man. All right, sir. Here we go. Let's get him on screen here. The music. T for Texas. T for Tennessee. Leonard Skinnard. Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, and a guy who is headed to Tennessee with the Houston Texans, where he will have the call, and you can listen high noon Sunday from Nissan Stadium in Nashville on AM 1300 The Zone in Austin, Ticket 760 in San Antonio, and across the Houston Texans radio network. The one and only Marc Vandermeer. Marc, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Sorry about the long intro to the song. We got to get it to the hook. You know, that's a good one for this week because you're playing the Oilers.
It's always interesting. It's extremely interesting right now because they're the AFC and maybe the hottest team in all of football with the teams that went to the playoffs last year, which is an NFL record. So they are very tough no matter who's available, who's not. It's going to be fun. I hope. Let's hope.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. We will get to the hook on future music on that one, Marc. Thank you so much. But all right, Texans coming off a bye week. How do you think this will affect and hopefully benefit the Houston Texans on Sunday in Nashville?
I'm hoping they put in some other wrinkles. You know, it's been very tough to move the ball, as we all know. And I think that a little bit of the element of surprise would benefit them. Don't go crazy, but some wrinkles. And I don't know what I mean by that. Jeff Driscoll's moving to tight end. How about letting Jeff Driscoll take some snaps just as the wild Driscoll or Driscoll cat or something like that, because he runs so well with the ball. That's why he's moving to tight end, to really reignite his career as an NFL player. And I think he can still help this team. But that's just one thing. That's just my thought. There might be some other things they can do. I think being fresh will help this team a little bit. But we all know what they need to do. They need to block better up front, whether it's pass blocking, run blocking, and get something going on the ground, help out the quarterbacking situation, and hope that Tyrod Taylor is more in rhythm than he was when he came back against the Dolphins. Hasn't played in weeks, and it showed in a really, really bad way.
Mark, you talk about hope. Do you think you can find any in the fact that the Tennessee Titans won in a close one against what's been a pretty average Saints team just last weekend? And as we mentioned, Texans coming off, going to be fresh legs after that bye week.
I think there are elements to that game that stand out in that way, Shannon. Like, they had an interception that was negated because of a really shaky roughing the passer penalty against New Orleans. And, if that interception stands, it's a completely different game, and I think that obviously that helped them. We'll see how it goes. The Tennessee Titans are very banged up. They're going to set a record this year for most players ever used on a 53-man roster because of all the injuries they have. Obviously, Derrick Henry's the one that stands out to everybody, but there are others as well that affect that football team, and they're having a very late bye. After this game, they play the Patriots next week. We all know the Patriots are piping hot right now after last night's win. They're 7-4. And then they finally have their bye, and they desperately need their bye. So I think they're gettable right now, but we'll see. The Texans have not been able to rise to the occasion, and they have to. I mean, at some point, they have to step up and win a football game, and maybe this week it can happen, but it'll be a huge upset.
Yeah, a lot of things that could be. You mentioned how banged up the Texans are, Mark, plus the Titans are, plus the Texans coming off the bye. I think there's a lot of elements that could point to an opportunity for the Houston Texans to get this one in Nashville on Sunday. But you bring up when Derrick Henry went down for the Tennessee Titans, Mark, I thought that's it. He's such a focus of their offense. Everything they do, certainly offensively, is predicated on what Derrick Henry can do to dominate the game and control the line of scrimmage and move the chains and get you first downs. I thought, all right, they're done. They're right off the Tennessee Titans. Yet, they get a big win against the Rams. They go out and they win some big games. What do you think is the secret to the success for the Tennessee Titans losing all these players and still finding a way to win in the National Football League?
The defense has stepped up, and the line is really good. They're trying to come up with nicknames for this D-line, this front seven that's getting a lot of sacks. And a caller on their flagship station this week said, how about paper or plastic? Because they're getting so many sacks. Wouldn't that be a good name? When you're trying to come up with nicknames for your defense, it's a good season. And it is a good season for them. But I think that side of the ball is a key difference for this team. They're really improving there. And Jeffrey Simmons, who's a little banged up right now, practice iffy today. We'll see what happens later on and if he's in or out of this one. But he's really been a thorn in the side of a lot of teams. Really physical guy. They liken him a little bit to Albert Haynesworth. Ouch. And Haynesworth had really cost the Texans big when he injured Matt Schaub, if you will. I mean, not on purpose. In the Week 10 game against Tampa in 2011, Haynesworth is a bully. We all know that. He could be a really tough player. And Jeffrey Simmons is extremely tough, stopping the run, getting to the quarterback, knocked down a 2-point conversion pass against the Texans last year in Nashville that would have given Houston a 9-point lead and enabled them to win a game in a year where wins were rare. So I just think he's just one of the guys to look out for up there. They've got a lot, and it's the defense that's really making a difference. Plus, and let me just say this, they still want to run the football. They're not doing it well right now, but you're still trying to stop it. They're doing what they do, which is play action, bootlegs, things like that. Tannehill plays well enough, and they're carving out victories. So they're going to try to do the same on Sunday.
Mark, you just ran through a list of players that the Texans are going to have to watch out for. Another guy that I'm seeing, A.J. Brown. He's played 4 times against the Texans. He's won 3 of those games and has totaled 27 catches for 447 yards and 5 touchdowns. Is there a guy you see on this Texans defense that should have the job to handle him and lock him down this weekend?
They play so much zone, Shannon. I think that with A.J. Brown, you're just going to have to do it kind of by committee. Didn't have a great game last week, but he has really been a Texans killer. And last year had this huge reception at NRG Stadium, final game of the season, to set up a game-winning field goal for Tennessee. Plus, they have Marcus Johnson, a Longhorn, who has found a home in Nashville, and he had 100 yards receiving last week. Just kind of burst out of the scene, if you will, but he's been around for a while, and just the national scene, if you will. And I think that this is a receiving unit that probably doesn't get its due. Julio Jones is on IR. I thought that was a really shaky deal for them because I was wondering what he had left, if he's really going to be able to contribute. Now, maybe he does. He comes off IR, maybe in time for the postseason, and they go nuts. We'll see. But they have a lot of weapons that they can use, and they've been able to replace guys. They had Johnny Smith there at tight end, and now he's in New England. Doesn't seem to matter. Ferkser, Swain, their tight ends are doing a good enough job. They have a lot of former Texans, too. 11 former Texans players and staffers are part of the Tennessee Titans. It makes sense because Vrabel was here, but they really have a Houston look. 2 of their 5 starters on the offensive line are Texans, Ben Jones at center, and David Quesenberry, who the Texans stood by so long here through his recovery from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But they couldn't hang on forever, and now he's finally blossomed into a really good NFL player, or good enough anyway, to be on a team that's leading the AFC and be their starting right tackle.
My goodness, I did not realize there were that many Houston Texans connections on the Tennessee Titans as we talk with the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. Mark, all right, Texans coming off a bye. They're 1-8. There's still a lot of football season left. There's 8 games left in this football season. I heard a quote this week attributed to Texans head coach David Culley where he said, we're committed to the youth movement here with the Houston Texans. And I think about the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are kind of going through that with Coach Greg Popovich. There's a youth movement. There are growing pains. Spurs fans don't love the 4-11 record, and I'm sure Texans fans don't love the 1-8 record. From your perspective, coming off the bye now with 8 games left in the regular season, what are the goals for the Houston Texans? Are they develop some of these guys, win some key games and develop a winning attitude? What do you think the culture is moving forward in these final 8 games?
I think winning would really this just in, winning would really help. When the losses pile up in a season like this, nobody's enjoying themselves. You just can't find the joy that you need to find for these players, the rewards for all the hard work they do. And I'll always say this, it takes a lot of hard work just to show up and lose. Just to show up and be average takes a ton of work. People scoff at, the old days, 8-8, the old days last year, or 8-9, 9-8, a 500-ish record in this league. It takes enormous amounts of work just to be flirting with 500 in this league, to win 7-8 games. So the Texans have only won 1, but they're working their butts off trying to do that. I think they have to know what they have in these young players, like you say. Eventually, they'll have to know a little bit more about Davis Mills, but they can wait on that. They have 8 games left. We'll see how it goes week to week here. But you want to make sure that you have full knowledge of who you want back next year so you know who you need to get. Obviously, they hope to have a ton of draft choices if they make the really big trade with Watson. But they're going to have a first and second rounder for the first time in a long time. They've only had 1 first-round pick out of the last 4 drafts coming into this one, and only 2 second-round picks in the last 4 drafts coming into this year's draft, or the 2022 draft. So they got to know what they need, what their needs are, and they need a ton, let's be honest. But I'm talking about free agency and who they might want to offer a contract to of all the 1-year deal players that they made offers to inside last offseason. So those are some of the goals. I think you want to continue to build culture. Yes, that's a word that's not very popular right now in Houston among Texans fans and media. But they still have to know. They got to follow their process and know who they need, what they need to do, and also win. Winning will really be a great elixir for this team, for everybody in the organization. They need a lift.
And let's hope it happens this weekend. Finally, Mark, the Titans, a division rival. You just talked about all of the players who are on that Titans roster who were Houston Texans. These teams know each other. As far as the stadium goes, you've been in this stadium many times, Nissan Stadium in Nashville. What kind of an environment is it, that fan base? Is it a memorable stadium for having a home field advantage with that crowd? How does the crowd behave there?
I think any NFL crowd, when they're really into it, is going to get loud. It's going to be a problem, potentially. I love the setting. It's right on the edge of downtown Nashville, just across the river. And you see the stadium prominently. I tweeted out a picture last night of the whole setting without fans to get ready for our Thursday night show. This is a really cool place to go. People know this about Nashville. It's a great city to visit. And the Titans, when they play well, they make it extra special for those visitors who happen to be Titans fans. Now, as far as hostile crowd and everything, look, Texans have gone there for years and had some success, but they've also had a lot of weird games there, like last year's. And I like the environment over the years. One year we went there, Gretchen Wilson was playing pregame, and it was pretty awesome, actually. She did a couple of rock and roll covers, which I love about her in particular. So I love going there. I love going down Broadway and seeing all the bands and the bars and everything, and hitting those places. And by the way, I mean, it's one after another. It's like 6th Street, except on steroids. It's a really cool place to go.
There are perks in Nashville, Tennessee. Marc Vandermeer will have the call. It is a noon kickoff, Texans at the Tennessee Titans. So pregame, 11:30, anywhere you are on the Houston Texans radio network, including AM 1300 The Zone in Austin, Ticket 760 in San Antonio. Follow Marc Vandermeer on Twitter at Texans Voice. Mark, have a great call on Sunday. We will be listening, and hopefully the Texans steal one and we come away victorious. Have yourself a great weekend.
It'd be nice. All right. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Shannon.
All right, sir. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans. And of course, Shannon, Longhorns at West Virginia, UTSA, their huge one against Alabama, Birmingham. And of course, I'm so looking forward to Cowboys Chiefs, 325 on Sunday as well. It's going to be a great football weekend.
I think, you were saying multiple times through this show that is the entree, that Cowboys and Chiefs game. I think of the three, I'm certainly looking forward to the Cowboys getting their say and that they're for real this season.
And finally, Shannon, you're seconds away from completing your first full broadcast in the new sparkling, palatial, beautiful, high-tech, state-of-the-art iHeart Radio Austin studios. How was your maiden voyage today? Whoa. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Great show. Great week, Shannon. Have yourself a great football weekend. May your Longhorns be victorious. Woo. Yeah. I picked the Longhorns, but that could be kiss of death the way my picks have gone. Jeremy Kolak, great being with you the last 2 days, man. I hope we do this more. You did a fantastic job both days.
Thank you.
And today under maximum duress with a whole new studio to hook up to in Austin. We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
It's good to be here. Thank y'all for having me. Hopefully we can, like you said, do it again real soon.
Absolutely. Love working with you. Our thanks to Coach A, Paul Alexander, who was tremendous in the 7 o'clock hour. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans. Go Longhorns, go Roadrunners, go San Antonio FC, go Texans, go Cowboys. May you be victorious all weekend long. Have yourself a great football weekend. We'll see you Monday. Adios, amigos. Woo! Thanks, y'all. Jason, Christopher, thank you, Christopher. Louisa, Marcus Valdespino, Robert, John Williams, whoever may still be here. I see 14 peeps. Fernando Solano, thank you, Fernando. Let's see, no Spurs game this weekend, not until Monday. So I will see you 6 a.m. here on Monday. I go to Dripping Springs to officiate a wedding tomorrow. So that'll be fun. All right. See you later. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Till Monday.